Hello, my name is Tom Schiller, and I'm pleased to be here to present my short film, Henry Miller Asleep and Awake. I met Henry Miller when I was 18 years old, which is the best time to meet Henry Miller because you're trying to figure out your life. And he had such a wonderful philosophy of life and a wonderful take on life. And he would tell stories about living in Paris and his bohemian world and everything. And it was just fantastic. I was working for Bob Snyder, a documentary filmmaker who was making a film called The Henry Miller Odyssey. And we were called over to Henry's house in the Pacific Palisades to film him for a segment that was going to go to the BBC. We went over there, and I was running sound, and Henry was in the pool, this wizened, I don't know, he was 70 or 80 years old, dog paddling in the pool and talking about Brooklyn and his sister and all the and writers and artists, and it was so mesmerizing to me. And his warm voice, his Brooklynese voice, which was so enrapturing. And I just started to love this guy. And afterwards, we talked, and he said to me, Tom, you remind me of myself when I was your age. I want to talk to you. Come over anytime. I want to talk to you. And that began our 10-year friendship. And I was so fortunate to know him at that time. And I learned so much. Later on, he had this bathroom in the Palisades, which he had plastered all sorts of pictures on the wall. Pictures of Gurdjieff and Hermann Hesse and writers and artists and women and Zen priests and stuff like that. And it was fascinating to just go in there and look at those pictures. So we decided to make a whole movie in there, and he would talk about each of the pictures. And that was the most wonderful experience, so much fun to collaborate with Henry and make this short film, which he liked it, which I was delighted about, and he thought it was one of his best films. And I do too. I think it's great, but I don't know how he'd relate to the 21st century here. I mean, I don't know if he'd like it too much with all of the, computers and stuff. I think he would be dismayed at the landslides and fires that are coming about, in Big Sur. I think he would be happy to know that Magnus Torn is carrying on the Henry Miller Library tradition so well. But I can't say how he'd really like nowadays and everything. Not sure he would. But in any event, I am very pleased to present my first documentary on Henry Miller Asleep and Awake.
We started Saturday night with Tom Schiller's introduction to Henry Miller Asleep and Awake that he made in 2024. We then played Henry Miller Asleep and Awake, followed by John Hunt's Henry Miller 84, number 3. Early in the planning for Henry Miller in the 21st century, I wanted to show the film Henry Miller Asleep and Awake, as it was in this film that Henry Miller spoke to me, his curiosity and love of life. I thought it would be great if we could have Tom Schiller, who made that film, attend our event. I could not find a way to contact him, but I found an interview that Tommy Kovac did with him in his Splat from the Past podcast. He said that he contacted Tom through his wife. I was able to find an email for his wife's business and send an email to her. She contacted him and connected us, and he was agreeable to make the video to introduce the film, explaining how he came to make it, anecdotes about filming, and Henry in general. In John Hunt's video, Henry mentions that the parts about George Dibron were taken out. I asked Tom about that, and he said it was cut from the film and there are no surviving copies. DVDs of Henry Miller Asleep and Awake are sold by IndiePix. Their webpage has a link to buy it through Amazon. Or you can watch it through them on Prime. Here's also a link to watch it on YouTube. John Hunt has 3 videos of Henry Miller on YouTube. We showed Henry Miller 84, number 3. Here is a link to it.